All right. Good evening, everyone. We are the Pashas Kisavai. Actually, we are into Pashas Nitzavim, getting into the Pasha that every year, this is the Pasha before Rosh Hashanah, almost every year. And it's almost eerie because Moshe Rabbeinu is saying to everyone, Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Hashem Elokechem. You're all standing today before Hashem, your God. You know, this is Rosh Hashanah. This is the Pasha for Rosh Hashanah on Shabbos. This is what it's going to be. And it's in Tzavim Vayelach together because Rosh Hashanah is on Shabbos, right? Rosh Hashanah is on Shabbos. And Sukkot is on Shabbos. Rosh Hashanah is Shabbos Sunday, right? Okay, so let's open up the Sipurei Maasios and get down to business. Okay. Let me just get to share the screen. And here we go. All right. So we said that the prince went to look for this instrument in the entire room, and he looked in this entire room and he couldn't find. He was afraid to go look for it elsewhere. And then they were afraid to tell the men of the forest to take them to civilization. And then the men of the forest came and told him that he will take them to civilization. And he took him to a civilized area, and he took that kli, he took that instrument, and he gave it to the real prince. And he said, the instrument I'm giving you. And with this man, in other words, his slave, who is the real son of the bondswoman, whatever you want to call him, the one who was king before because of the switching. Teda echli snagim. You'll know how to deal with him. And we were pointing out that this is the process in which the Ben Melech, first of all, gets out of the self-image that he's a slave. In the beginning, he doesn't even know that he's anything else. He knows that he's a slave. And everything's okay. You know, everybody, not everybody can be a rock star. Okay, so I'm a slave. What can I do? But being that Hashem has created everything for a purpose, it cannot last. A person is being pulled to his destiny. Rabbeinu hinted to that when he said that even though the son of the king lived in an environment of the slave's house, his nature pulled him towards royal attitude, towards royal. In other words, the genes were there, as it were. On the other hand, the son of the slave, the real son of the slave, he was growing in the palace of the king, but his nature pulled him towards his real identity. And one of the great truths of the world is that the emes holds on. The Gemara says, emes kai. Emes is standing. When you see the letters of emes, which is aleph, mem, and taf, they both have wide bottoms. The aleph has two legs, the mem has a flat leg plus another leg, and the taf has, two legs wide, a little chupchik in the front. It's stable. Sheker, the letters of sheker, it says shikra lokai. A lie cannot last. You see the letters of sheker, which is shin and kuf and resh, each one is standing on a point. Is standing precariously, on a point. So this is to be merames that a lie, no matter how powerful, Rabbeinu says, we learned it in Tereches, we learned it in great depth, that the ruach sara, the storm wind that is swept up by the Sitra Achra, at its time, it is overpowering. But at the end, it just vanishes. It doesn't matter if it's all the empires, the Egyptian empires and the Assyrian Empire and the Babylonian Empire and the Persian Empire and the Greek Empire and the Roman Empire. Roman Empire lasted for 400 years. Just think about it, 400 years. When it was the same age as the United States of America. It was just a little over half its run. It was still about 200 years still to exist. I mean, the Roman Empire seemed to the people of the time to be a monolith. Just that's it. It will exist forever. In fact, people thought the same thing regarding the Soviet Union. In fact, people said, there were science fiction stories that were written about like 1,000 years hence, where, I don't know, people colonizing who knows what, whatever demons that they have. And it was still divided between the United States of America and the Soviet Union. Because they figured that, this is it, it's going to just stay. But all those empires that think that they will last forever, whenever the evil only has its time. That's it. Once the time passes, it just evaporates. The Roman Empire just evaporated. The Macedonian, Alexander the Great, he had an empire which was like, of course, Nazi Germany, at its heyday, it was basically like larger than almost any other empire that ever was. And it came down crashing. But Am Yisrael, who is B'chinas Emes, at every single point in history, is in gewaltige danger. Everybody's running after them. Everybody is shemirachem, persecuting Jews left and right, no matter what they do. It keeps on keeping on, keeping on, keeping on. But Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael exists. But all these empires, rose and fell, and each empire as it rose, looked snidely at the Jews and persecuted them. The idea was because something inside them told them, and is still telling them, that the Jews are the real prince. And there was a switch, that they are imposters. And they like fervently, like zealously wanted to prove that it's now, we are the real thing, we are the real McCoy, we are the master race, we are, we are it. It's like the Jews are no longer it. The whole thing. When you come to think of it, it's an amazing thing. Because practically in every language in the world, you have Jews and Gentiles. The Gentiles also identify themselves as Gentiles. It's an unbelievable thing. Jews are like 1/3% of the population of the world. And everybody, imagine there's a tribe in Africa, all right? A little tribe in Africa somewhere, I don't know, in the dark Africa that nobody knows about. There's a little tribe, with the name of, Bok, okay? And everybody in the world defines themselves as, I'm not a Bok. What's going on? They are Bok and I am a non-Bok. I'm a Gentile. It's a pelotzim. It comes to show you that they know that you have to remove several tons of sand in order to uncover a diamond. And what do you do when you find the diamond? You discard all the sand. You don't care about the sand. Sand is worthless. Its only value is that it produces diamonds. But in itself, it's nothing. It's gomished. So we said the realization we have here. Yaakov Pfeffer is also with us tonight. And we spoke in the car when we drove from the airport, that the realization that you are actually the real Ben Melech is not a black and white kind of decision, show you a document, this is real. Okay. It doesn't work like that. This entire story starts with you starting with a conviction that you're Bechlal an Eved. You're Ben Eved. It doesn't matter if you're born in a frum home or you're born whatever it is. Everybody tries to tell you this, that, whatever it is, but in their behavior, they all use the right words. They're all saying the right tune. But in their words, in their behavior, in their attitude, they tell you, you're son of a slave, and everybody's like, this is what you are. It's not who you are. Okay, you're Yid, this, that, but Lamaisa, thing which is Nagiel Lamaisa, who you are, what are you supposed to reach in life? Ben Eved. You know, there's Baruch Hashem, Chaim Kanievsky, Rabbi Elyashiv, Rav Steinman, you know, Nosson, Rabbeinu, Kamavan, whatever. I'll do something, anything I do is good. You know, it basically means that the conviction that I am a Ben Eved is that's the default position. At the very end, we mentioned it last week, and I spoke to Yaakov about it. At the very end, when he finally finishes everything, and it turns around to the slave and says, now I know that I'm the Ben Melech and you're the slave. And we ask the question, why is that a proof? How is that a proof? Because you managed to do it. You managed to, you know, to pull off the assignments, and you became a Melech. How do you know that you're the Ben Melech? So we mentioned last week, we said at a certain point in time, somebody needs to tell him. You know, once he already knows that he has responsibility. Once he already goes through, he sees, he meets his true Eved, he already buys him as a slave. This is a process. But it's still a process where reality is sort of its own proof. He still doesn't really know. I mean, yeah, I'm the master and he's my slave. But how do I know that I'm the real Ben Melech and he is the real Ben Ashifcha? I don't know that. And this is possibly what's happened here. So the Odom Hayar, which represents the Tzaddik, takes the Kli, which the Ben HaMelech here, we said, he went looking for this Kli. He went searching for it. And he couldn't find it. So he says, the Kli I'm giving you. Which means he knew that he was looking for it. Otherwise, it says, I'm giving you the Kli I told you about. But he's telling you, the Kli I'm giving you. The thing that you look for. And your slave, you should know how to behave with him. What does it mean? We said, how do you teda echli snai gimri? What is the purpose of the Odom Hayar saying, and the slave, you'll know how to behave with him? With this, he proves to him that he knows what he's thinking inside his thought. Because take a look what happened. When he finally asks, you know, the slave, you know, who are you really? And he tells him the entire story. So here the Odom Hayar says, and this one, he proves to him, I know that's the Kli that you want, and this one I prove to you that I know what you're thinking. In other words, I'm not just saying something. In the Weltare, I happen to have this marvelous Kli. No, I know who you are. And ultimately, once he proves it to him, so they ask him, you know, where are we going to go? They should ask and inquire and demand, investigate. After a state that's called the Medina Tipshis v'Melech Chacham. In English it says, the Narish Aland and the Kluge Malchus. The stupid country with a smart king. So they asked him, okay, so, but where should we go looking for it? Like somebody is pointing with a finger. Go there to this Medina. V'sham tovoi el hagdula shelcha. And here he tells him that the Gdula belongs to him. It's just not a happenstance that if he reaches Gdula, okay, he struck it lucky and he became king. No. He told him innately, milchatchila, it belongs to you. So Rabbi Yaakov actually said, that it's obvious from there is that the process of knowing that you are Ben Melech, it's a process. It's not black and white. Now I know, I didn't know, and now I do know. I see the birth certificate, now I know. This is not it. It's a realization that needs to go into you. You need to grow into it. You have to peel off the slave mentality from you to get there. And they went. And they went along the way. They wanted to find, if there is a behemoth, there is a chaya, something that they can play. And they still were not seeing any animal. One of the interesting things that we keep on seeing in the story is the fact that there were happenings, there were things that were going on, like in the forest, or let's say the animals during the night, they were roaring and shouting and yelling and whatever. And the Ben Melech did not hear it. I mean, he spent the night in the forest by himself up on a tree and he didn't hear anything. The only time he first heard it was when he met up with that who later became the slave. When he finally realized, when the slave, when the guf and the neshama came together, that's the first time that he hears it. It's the first time that he hears the day laughing at the night. How come he didn't hear it? Rabbeinu says the laughter was all over the world. How come he didn't hear it until now? One of the great secrets of the union of being in the dark, that there are like two levels of being in the dark. I mean, it's endless, but there's always, as Rabbeinu calls it sometimes, Torah and Tefillah, that or Pnimi and or Makif, that you bring the all Makif Pnima, and you have to turn, the Tefillah into Torah, then you get a higher Tefillah, which is Yediyah and Emunah. They always have to go to a higher Emunah, because the thing that you first believe in, when it gets in, you already know them. For instance, when you daven, when you make Esbeiladus, when you pray, okay? After a while, when you first begin, you don't know, it works, it doesn't work, Hashem hears me, doesn't hear me, whatever, it's all up in the air. But as Rabbeinu says in Torah Beis, and they said that, why is it tefillah? I mean, it's called Pi Shnayim. It's Pchinas Bechor. It's Pi Shnayim. Pi Shnayim. So the Bechor gets twice as everybody else. Why the Bechor gets twice in the Yerusha in the inheritance than any other child gets. So they said that this is because until the Bechor was born, the woman was not a Yoledis. She was not Becheskas Yoledis. The Bechor is the one who made her, who inaugurated her in a station, in a mamad of a Yoledis. So Mimela, he has part with all the children that were born afterwards. He has a part in them because a Yoledis gave birth to them. But I said the same thing is with the tefillah. Because when you daven, you first daven, you start davening, you're not certain. I mean, yeah, you believe because Baruch Hu hears everything, whatever it is. But when you actually start davening and you get it, in other words, you're getting what you're asking for. Time. Once you get it, you see that you got what you're asking for. It builds a certainty in you. It's like a bechor. Now you're already a mamin. You are a davener. You are a mispaler. In your arsenal of tools, you have the tefillah. It's a kli to get what it is that you need or what it is that you want or what it is that you wish for. Beforehand, you knew it in principle. You believed in it, more or less, but you believed in it. Once you get the proof positive that it works, you know it. How much do you know it? Depends how much you daven, how much you ask. Because whenever it is that you get something, by the time when the Kodesh Baruch Hu gives it to you, he gives it to you with a shtickle astara. Let's say you're asking for parnasa. And you say, I'll give you parnasa. So everything is open. You know Kodesh Baruch Hu gives parnasa. Then suddenly Kodesh Baruch Hu sends you an account. A client, a large client that gives you. So all of a sudden, you start flattering this guy, start manipulating this guy, so as to not to lose him. What happened to your emunah? Before you relinquished control to Kadosh Baruch Hu, you just gave the control to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu sent it to you. Now you want to take the control back in your own hands. Because the gadol mechavero yitzur gadol mimenu. Now you have a hiring son. This guy that is your client is just a teller in the bank. It's not his money. The money that he's giving you comes from whoever it is that wrote you the check. It's a Kadosh Baruch Hu's money. But the minute that there's a manifestation in Lamaisa, in Dover Amiti, Dover Muchashi, tangible source. So you fall from this emunah. You fall from the emunah and you have to work on it again. Because the body is very powerful. You notice that the slave is the one who tells him, ask him where it is, ask him what is the day and another. It's the slave that keeps on inciting him. What is this? What is this? What is this? He himself is, okay, yeah. The same thing comes now. When they got the teva, they got the kli, they got the instrument. This instrument, Anash say, is the tefillah. That's the tefillah, the tevas tefillah. That when you put it on an animal, You put it on a beast. You put it on the gashmis, like a person. And he starts to sing that song that the entire creation is singing. The praise to the Malchus, to the Levana. To Mal Leminus Malchus, to Mal Leminus Malchus, to the Shechina. And Rabbeinu says that this kli, this tool, this instrument, rather, is made from leaves and such colors, minei tzivonim, such colors. In Torah Kuf Yud Bes, Rabbeinu says that the dibur, the person speaks to Kodesh Baruch Hu, Davos HaKodesh Baruch Hu, is made of two elements. The first element is the most basic physical, gashmisdika level of what speech is made of. And that is Esh, Maim, and Hey Moitzes Hapeh. The five tools that you have: the throat, the roof of your mouth, the lips, the teeth, the tongue, that you have to chisel the words out of the raw voice that is coming out from your lungs, which is basically warm air, Maim and Esh. This is what it is. It's air that's going through these five tools, the five gvuros that manipulate, that chisel it. That's the alim, valel letrufa. That's the leaves. These are the leaves that Rabbeinu talks about. But besides that, the dibur, the tefillah, is comprised of minei tzivonim. Minei tzivonim. This it says the tachas raglov ke livnas asapir, the whiteness of a sapphire. It's the gavnin elyonim. In other words, in Torah Kuf Yud Bes, Rabbeinu says this is the emes. It's a spiritual quality that is fused with this physical word, alim and tzivonim. The physical dibur with the sanctity, with the spiritual quality of emes. And when the two are put together, Kodesh Baruch Hu is there. Hashem Oiri, when you're talking the truth. And when Hashem Oiri, immediately there's Yishi. There's Yeshua. You can see the openings, how to get out. But first, they were looking for an animal. They didn't know. The deepest level of darkness is when you see no darkness at all. Everything is obvious. I don't know what you want. Person, I can go to Yom Kippur and I clap al chet. All year long, we clap al chet on somebody else's chest. It's all his fault or her fault. They're the one who did this, and he's the one who did that, and she did this to me, and he did this to me, and they forget about it. The prime minister did this to us, and they did this to me, whatever it is, and the mayor did it, whatever they did. But then in Kippur, at least we clap on our own chest. And we clap our own chest, and we have a realization that only comes up to a certain point. Rabbeinu says in Torah Vav, he says, that even the chatasi, avisi, pashasi, a person is not able to say with a full heart. Basically, yeah, I wasn't always up to snuff, but okay, so at least I'm not denying it. But to actually get, to feel it, Rabbeinu says in Torah Lamed Ches, he says that to get to the point, he says, you get to a certain point when after the tefillah comes out, after you're already speaking with words that are hot as fire, that we learn in Torah Chav, only then, so the Zerampin gets its own moichin. And suddenly he's doing tshuva on what? On a various that were there all along, but I didn't even notice it. Yeah, I know it wasn't right, but it's like he threw it behind your shoulder. You don't see it. And it's not a blame. Don't get me wrong. It's not a blame. Rabbeinu says, in the Kutum Aran, that when it says, for instance, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he came out of Na'ara and he saw of the cave and he saw a person is plowing his field. He says, what do you mean? Wasting life on masa, mutton, whatever it is. He says, Nasan ba'ei. No, but he looked at him. V'nasa gal shalat samas, and it became a pile of bones. Rabbeinu says that what the tzaddik did is Nasan ba'einav, and the tzaddik gave his eyes, the tzaddik's eyes, the ability of what the tzaddik sees, he gave it to that person. What happens is that atzom is also mishon atzmus, is who I really am, my essence. Was misgale, gal shalatzamas, revelation of who I really am, what I'm really holding in the world. Rabbeinu says there's no greater punishment than finding out in one shot everything that is wrong with you. It's shattering. It's like a punch in the solar plexus. You can't breathe. So Rabbeinu says, it's like the tzaddik has to take off the blinders, like when a person goes through eye surgery. So first of all, the eyes have to be covered. And then the covering has to be peeled off one layer at a time so that the light is introduced gradually so the person wouldn't be blinded by this great light. The process of starting to make a behemoth sing means the process that I want to make my nefesh bahamis, I want to make my own bechinas behemoth sing. But before I can actually do it, I have to look for it. I have to want to do it. So where can I find the behemoth? The behemoth is talking first. I have to look for it. I wish I had a behemoth to put this box on. So who is talking? The behemoth himself is singing this. You have to be mishtoikik to speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Until you're zecher to come to a Mokom Yishuv. Mokom Yishuv means that you yourself become a semblance of Adam. You're starting to become a person. You're not a Chaya B'tzuras Adam. You're not an animal in the form of a man. And when you have this ishtakikus, when you have this craving, you get to a Mokom Yishuv, suddenly you know what the animal is. You put the keli on it, and it starts to sing. You discover the unbelievable power of tefillah. Basically, this entire mahalach, where they were going into the forest, outside the forest is kivyochol, like the korbanos in davening in the morning. What comes out of it is the behemoths, it's the korbanos. And you can say that the soicher that was scaring him, that was manipulating, that's the tzaddik. Tzaddik is sus v'rochvay. A horse is a very special animal because a horse bonds with its riders. I mean, nowadays, my car doesn't do it, but in the olden days when people used to ride horses, horses become almost like fused with the rider. And the rider doesn't even have to do anything. After a while, they become so one thing. The rider doesn't have to like pull the reins or whatever. He doesn't have to do that. He just thinks. And telepathically, the horse already goes to where he wants to go. So we met that one man on a horse, that's the Seicher. Very soon we're going to meet another man on a horse. The first, everything that happens until he gets into the forest is a pchinas korbanos. It's a olam asiyah. The forest up to the point where we are is kaviyachol the olam ha'yitzira. It's the psuka de zimra. This is the animals singing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the laughter of the night from the day. I mean, the night is laughing. Sorry, the day is laughing at the night. This is Psuka de Zimra. It's the world of beauty. B'ezrat Hashem, as we're going on, now we're entering the realm of truth. Until now it was the realm of beauty. Now we're going to enter the Olam HaBriya, which is Olam HaBina. But Hashem will talk about this in Yitz Hashem, unless there's a Kodesh Baruch Hu should help us, we should all be in Uman. So B'ezrat Hashem, we will talk about the next phase. So first of all, I want to give everybody the ability to unmute yourselves so we can all hear you. And our friend Rabbi Yaakov is, Yitz Hashem, traveling tomorrow. I believe he's traveling to London, right? Rabbi Yaakov.
Yeah. B'ezrat Hashem.
B'ezrat Hashem. So B'ezrat Hashem, we should all daven for him. We should daven for us. We should all B'ezrat Hashem get to Uman and meet together
Amen.
On Rosh Hashanah, and should have no manias, and shouldn't chas v'chalei get stuck in the way, and everything should come B'ezrat Hashem l'chaim tov v'shalom. B'ezrat Hashem.
Hatzlacha.
Hatzlacha rabba. B'ezrat Hashem.
Amen.
So B'ezrat Hashem, if by this Thursday, I'm not in Uman yet, So we will learn back L'Kutei Moharan Torah Chaf. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And I hope you weren't bored too badly. Mezat Hashem will continue next week or whenever. So kol tov atzlochu ra b'chol